it is almost the rule, but I don't want to make too many rules with it, in order not to be schematic.
Yes.
That an introvert marries an extrovert for compensation, or another type marries the counter type to complement himself.
I thought, well, he's just talking through his hat, and I just can't go for that stuff. Until I got in trouble and had him head on, and then, my God, he just made all kinds of sense. I liked his opening comment. He said, oh, so you're in the soup too. I like the two. Together. Yeah.
The archetype is a force. It has an autonomy. It can suddenly seize you. It is like a seizure.
Yes.
So, for instance, falling in love at first sight, that is such a case. You see, you have a certain image in yourself, without knowing it, of the woman, of the woman.
Yes.
Now you see that girl, or at least a good imitation of your type, and instantly you get a seizure, and you're gone.
Yeah.
And afterwards you may discover that it was a hell of a mistake. Or you see, a man is quite capable, he's intelligent enough to see that that woman of his choice, as one says, not no choice, he has been captured.
Yeah.
You know, he sees that she's no good at all, that she's a hell of a business. And he tells me so, and he said, for God's sake, doctor, help me to get rid of that woman. He can't. He's like clay in her fingers. And that is the archetype. That is the so-called archetype of the anima.
Yes.
He thinks it is all his soul, you know. Like the girls, you know, when a man sings very high, then he thinks he must have a very wonderful spiritual character because he can sing the high C. And she's badly disappointed when she marries at that particular number.
Yeah.
Well, that is the archetype of the animus.
Yeah.
This is built right into the center of Jung's whole psychology, that one should develop one's contrasexual components, as Margaret Mead so quaintly phrases it. But Jung prefers to talk about the animus and the anima, meaning the feminine side of the masculine side of the woman and the feminine side of the man. And so that all of us who are really committed and involved in the Jungian world are very busy trying to develop our animuses or our animas, and we don't ever expect that it's going to be quite a dead heat, and that our voices will alternate from soprano to basso, or that we are going to get a reissue of our vital parts. But on the other hand, we do feel that usually going on a two-step operation, first with the projection of one's anima or one's animus, and then the gradual peeling of it off and taking it back in again and assimilating it and hopefully integrating it into one's consciousness, that this androgynous or almost androgynous state of being is the way one hopes to be before they throw the switch.
In the beginning stages of a relationship, there is generally a lot of projection mixed up with it. And that is responsible for all those love quarrels. I mean, she makes demands which he can't fulfill, and he makes demands she can't fulfill, and animus anima crossing the swords. And I mean, if you tape record a love quarrel, it's the same all over the world, literally. And that is projection. And if people don't run away but work it out and take back all what is projection in it, then appears or is peeled out of all this the true relationship. Now it might be none, and then it would be like the Freudian thing, goodbye, and now I see you simply represented that and that in me, and thank you very much, goodbye. Or there might be a tremendous amount of relationship, true relationship built up, which is not the same thing as projection.
The intensity of our struggle suddenly became clear to me that Jane had a thinking function developed, and I had a developed feeling function. And of course that was upside down. Everybody knows that men think and women feel, only what didn't happen to be so with us.
But I think that what he did for women came through his tremendous interest in the individual. And women could be individuals too. And this problem of what is feminine and what is masculine and so forth and so on almost came as second to that. Mm-hmm. So I think in a sense, and then of course his discovery of the animus and the anima, that did a lot.
Jung was not apt to be a father figure. He was in an astonishing way near to you. Natural. He could sit down and after 10 seconds you felt to speak with a brother, not with a father. And if you have had this brother relationship to him, where you discussed in a free way, where you accepted that he got angry, where you also were ready to get angry at him, as men do in an upright, clear way, it was easy to get along with him. But the moment where one thought that he was a father figure, he was for men very destructive. Because he was too irrational to give a guidance as a father. He changed too openly, too often his mind to give such a guidance. That's a natural thing to change one's mind. Quite a normal thing. But a father should give a certain guidance. And he had no intention at all to give a guidance. So for men it was often difficult because the moment men look, and many men look for a father, whereas with women it went along much better because a woman doesn't look so much for a father, she looks for a lover. And he was charming, seducing, and there he offered transference, often a little bit too much. But with a great healing power. With a great healing power.
Well, what about the atmosphere in Zurich at that time?
Well, that's what put me off. Oh, the cultism was just reeking. It was just awful. There were the transferences. And I swore I would never get a transference. That one thing I decided right away, because it just looked too awful. I mean, these people were just goofy. And but I got a transference.
Couldn't help it.
Couldn't help it. Because I mean, after all, you get a transference because what's missing in you has got to be seen in somebody else. And there was plenty missing in me, you know, and with a man of Jung's caliber. There's a lot missing.
It is a regular observation that when you talk to an individual, and this individual gives you insight into its inner preoccupations, interests, emotions, in other words, hands over his personal complexes, then you get slowly and nilly-willy into the situation of a sort of authority. Yes. You become a point of reference. You know you are in possession of all the important items in a person's development. Now you see, that creates an emotional relationship to the analyst. And that is what Freud called the transference.
Yes.
Which is a central problem of analytic psychology. It is just so as if these people had handed out their whole existence, and that can have very peculiar effects upon the individual. Either they hate you for it or they love you for it,
yes.
But you are not indifferent to them.
But I never felt as though I had too much transference. It didn't last too long because Jung, the one nice thing about, or the good thing about him was he gave so much of himself. He just gave you everything he had. So it wasn't as though you had a hangover. You got it all, you know?
I never felt in awe of him. I just thought sometimes he was funny. When we used to have a little argument about God, he said, you know, I'm not so sure about God. I'm perfectly willing if he shows up, fine. I used to say to you, of course, if he shows up, he'll probably look like you. And, I guess that I thought before I got mad at him, I thought that he would have some kind of a solution to life's problems. Then I found I had to find the solution myself, which I suppose was what he did, bring you to that point.
We didn't know whether we were fish, flesh or fowl, and we had to find ourselves anew. I dreamt that Jung was a Protestant clergyman standing at the pulpit giving a sermon, and we were all in the pews, and when he finished his sermon, all the others got up and began to chant mandala, mandala, the way they might in Christian times have said Hosanna. And this represented a worshipful attitude to Jung that was laughable, as you can imagine. So I thought, I hate to tell Jung this dream, but I did. And he said, well, of course you should feel that way. I was simply projecting my own Protestant background, making Jung a father figure, making the other people into a group which they were not.
Freud always wanted to break a transference and to resolve it and to bring people to life again, down to the adaptation to life again. Mm-hmm. But Jung had another point of view, had the feeling as long as we have a strong transference, one must serve it, because he said there is a greater personality involved in transference. And we don't know what this greater personality has in storage, and so we must serve it. And that was tremendously difficult for Jung. He often told us, you see, I should have 10 lives in order really to follow the development of the integration process so deeply as he did with us all.
Yes.
But that was also what interested him. He many times said, without you women, I couldn't have developed my psychology.
I had a case that was an intelligent young woman. She was a student of philosophy, very good mind, where one could expect easily that she would see that I am not the parental authority. But she was utterly unable to get out of this delusion. And in such a case, one always has recourse to the dreams. It is just as if one would ask the unconscious, now what do you say to such a condition? You see, she says within the unconscious, of course I know you are not my father, but I just feel like that, it is like that, I depend upon you. And I say, now we will see what the unconscious says. Now the unconscious produces dreams in which I really assumed a very curious role. You know, she was the little infant, she was sitting on my knees, I held her in my arms, I was a very tender father to the little girl, you know, and